Hello and welcome to another UK sim review. Today we're going to look at the Chatmos line by Alan Thomson Simulation. The Chatmos line is the main line between Manchester, covering both Manchester Victoria, Manchester Piccadilly and Liverpool. And as part of the route, Alan Thomson Sim have mapped or modelled both Victoria and Piccadilly, including things like Deansgate, the Odsal Chord. The line also goes off at a spur down to Warrington Bank Quay, so there's a little bit of the West Coast main line included, so you can do scenarios from Warrington Bank Quay to Liverpool. Covers other stations like Lee Green, Rainhill, etc., etc. In terms of the quality of the route, the I did a review of the Huddersfield line, which was Victoria to Leeds, last week or the week before, something like that. And if you compare the level of detail of Manchester Victoria, for example, these are completely different. The quality in the model of Manchester Victoria in this route is amazing. They've got all the tiny little details in there. They've got like the map, which Victoria's famous for, of all the rail network, and it does look amazing throughout. Included with the route are, I believe, 6 scenarios. One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, 6 scenarios. And they range from your usual sort of express service between Victoria and Liverpool, and also the scenario that you can see at the minute, which is the Drax uh, scenario. So there's a bit of freight in there. There's a stopping service one, etc., etc. So it covers quite a lot of variety. So you can do obviously express services, you can do stopping. There are freight workings on the line as well. So there's lots and lots of potential in terms of what you can do with the route. Obviously, that inclusion of Piccadilly as well and Warrington Bank Quay gives you again more options in terms of things you can do with the route. I think I've mentioned, excuse me, that the quality of the route is really good, and it is. This is on par, maybe ever so slightly under Hope Valley by Just Trains, but it's very, very good in terms of the detail, the attention to detail. It's got obviously things like the Co-op building in the centre of Manchester, and when you go through Salford Central, all the sort of buildings and the car parks and all that kind of stuff that are there, and it really does look like the centre of Manchester. So Alan Thomson Sim have done a fantastic job in terms of the detail, obviously referencing, I don't know if they've done it photographs or whatever, to give you that look and feel for the area. What are the negatives then? So let's talk about the negatives. So the pack does include a reskin of the 800 series. So if you've got the what's it, London to Peterborough, which gives you the 800 series, it gives you a reskin of that as part of the scenarios on here. The issue that I have is Alan Thomson Sim are selling this. This is not a freeware thing. This is a payware product, and it is £26.99. So it's £1 more expensive than a DTG route, unless you are a subscriber to Alan Thomson Sim, and it comes down to about £15.99, I think it is. This is again a paid for product. And if you are paying for a product, you expect it to be finished and work as it should do out of the box. And I think that's a reasonable thing to say. You know, if you buy a DTG route, for example, you download it, it's got all the stock that you need to run in it, and there's no messing about. You can just install it, it just works, and you know, you've got that as a complete product. If I take probably a more fair sort of analogy to this, is anybody that bought the Weary lines from Armstrong Powerhouse. So obviously you download that. There are a list of requirements that you need to make that work, and there are a lot of Armstrong Powerhouse add-ons. Excuse me, and I don't for 1 second begrudge Alan Thomson saying you need some dependencies. So, for example, to use the scenarios, there are things like the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 319 you need the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 66 Enhancement Pack, you need the Class 175 Enhancement Pack. Fine, no problem whatsoever. My issue is that there are a number of freeware, if you want to call it that, reskins to make the scenarios work, which are, for the majority, found on Alan Thomson Sim website, which is an absolute nightmare to navigate around. It's not easy. And then you've got to mess about trying to install these reskins. And if you're not comfortable sort of messing about with the folder structure in Train Simulator, then you're kind of stuck because you have to put things in the asset folder and click a batch file and all this kind of stuff. And if you're paying for a product, you should just be expected to install it and it should just work. The other issue that I've got is that, so these 6 scenarios, I've tried every single one of them, and 2 of them don't work. I have all the stock installed, it all works. So this scenario watching now, you get about half an hour in and there's a stuck AI train and you can't go any further. There's another one where you load straight in, it says broken consist. And I'm sorry, if I'm paying £25 for a finished product, it needs to be a finished product. And I don't think I'm being unfair in saying that is an expectation. Obviously, there's going to be arguments of what I've just said around DTG and them releasing the Huddersfield line, for example, and then patching it 4-6 weeks later down the line because of assets like trees that are floating and things that are missing, but they've patched it. This is basic stuff that should have been caught up in testing. I don't know how you can release scenarios and then be as broken as they are and not work and go through QA. I think the other thing is I've logged this as support tickets with Alan Thomson, and I've tried and tried and tried, and they're like, just go around and reinstall it. Just go around and reinstall it. I've installed it on a laptop. I've installed it on a PC. I've then completely removed Train Simulator. I've spent an entire weekend reinstalling it all again, and it's still in the same situation. And now they finally come back and said, oh, well, we'll go away and test it. That's after 6 or 7 support tickets. And I'm sorry, Alan Thomson Sim, it's not good enough. If I'm logging a support ticket, you need to take it on face value that people have an issue and go away and fix it. Speaking of which, there's other things. There's like speedboards that are missing. The approach into Manchester Victoria from the Rochdale end, the speed part of that is wrong. Yes, you're only going to use it for the start of scenarios, but it's not 50 mile an hour. If you look at the Huddersfield lines, I think it's 40. So there are other, I'm going to say minor issues with the route, which is a bit, you know, detracts away from this finished, well, should be finished, polished product. There's other weird things like the scenario that you can see me playing here. I am following a Transpennine Express and a stopping train, and then if you follow the map, the train in front of you just vanishes into a portal. It's, it's bonkers. Um, so yeah, that is my experience with the Chat Moss. Do I like the Chat Moss route? Yes, I do. It looks great. There's a lot of potential on there. You know, I enjoy playing it, and again, I'm local. Manchester Victoria is pretty much home. It was a no-brainer buying it. Would I recommend you to buy it? Well, I think if it was completely finished, so all the issues fixed, the scenarios fixed. Oh, and I've kind of gone off a tangent, but let me finish. If the scenario is finished, I would say absolutely buy it. Where I was going with the scenario thing is, I was saying about the freeware parts of this. Well, the Armstrong Powerhouse weary lines, the free extra stock is just a download and you install it and it works. There's a lot of faff to get these scenarios working, and I don't understand why Alan Thomson didn't go to the people that made the reskins, because it's freeware and it's free on his site. So I say, would you mind if we just package these 3 or 4 reskins up into a bundle and make it easily installable with Chat Moss? And I'm sure they would have said yes, but you know, there should be as little barrier to sale and barrier to play as possible. And while ATS are new in the game at doing this, there's things that they can do to improve their, support, their end user experience. Let's word it that way. So yeah, would I recommend Chat Moss? Absolutely, it's great. I'm hoping that ATS kind of listen and go away and fix all the issues that there are with it, because this route has bags and bags and bags of potential. It looks great, it plays great. Yes, there's issues with the scenarios. Yes, there's a few issues on the route itself, but only minor ones on the route. And I think once they've fixed these issues, you've got a very well made, well polished product. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. Again, thank you very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you like it, like it. If you want to subscribe, that would be even more appreciated. And we'll have another review in a week's time. Thanks very much once again. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.